The snow tasted like metal and regret. Amara's cheek pressed against the iron gate, cold biting through her skin like 1,000 tiny knives. Her fingers, numb and clumsy, refused to grip the bars anymore. The designer shopping bags she'd been carrying lay scattered in the slush around her, their contents spilling into the gutter, expensive Christmas gifts she'd wrapped for Marcus, now ruined. Just like everything else tonight. Just like her. She could hear music thumping from somewhere above, bass notes vibrating through the metal into her skull. Laughter. Warmth. Life happened on the other side of these gates while she died on this side. 26 years old and freezing to death in the Gangnam district on Christmas Eve because the man she'd loved, the man she'd given up everything for, had thrown her out like trash. Is this all you could afford? Marcus's voice echoed in her head, sharp with disgust as he'd held up the watch she'd saved 3 months to buy. Jesus, Amara. You're embarrassing. Her vision blurred. Snow or tears, she couldn't tell anymore. It didn't matter. Nothing mattered. She'd left Lagos for him, left her family, her job at the hospital, her whole life, because Marcus said Seoul was their future. Their adventure. 6 months later, she knew the truth, she'd been convenient. A novelty. Something exotic to show his friends until he got bored. You were always temporary, he'd said, so casually, like he was discussing the weather. Just something to pass the time. Amara's knees buckled. The world tilted sideways. She heard voices, Korean words she couldn't understand, then English. Should we call someone? She's probably drunk. Not our problem, man. Then everything went dark, but not silent. A car door slammed. Footsteps, quick and purposeful. A voice, low and commanding, cutting through the confusion, pick her up. Now. Sir, we don't know who she. I don't remember asking for your opinion. Hands lifted her, surprisingly gentle. Warmth enveloped her, a coat that smelled like expensive cologne and something else, something clean and dark like cedar. She tried to open her eyes, but managed to see only shadows and streetlights smearing together like paint. Please, she whispered, though she didn't know what she was asking for. Death, maybe, or just for the cold to stop. I've got you, the voice said. You're safe now. And then there was nothing at all. Before we continue, can I ask you a question? Where in the world are you watching from? Comment below because we would love to know how far these stories travel, and hit that subscribe button because there are new stories you do not want to miss. Amara woke to softness. That was the first shock. After hours of freezing concrete and harsh rejection, her body had forgotten what comfort felt like. She was lying in a bed that felt like clouds, wrapped in blankets that probably cost more than everything she owned. The room was dark except for a sliver of light coming from under a door. Modern furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows showing Seoul's glittering skyline. Definitely not a hospital. Panic hit her chest like a fist. Where was she? Who had brought her here? Images flashed through her mind, men's voices, that commanding tone, hands lifting her. She sat up too fast, and the room spun. The door opened. A woman appeared, silhouetted against the hallway light. Mid-30s, Korean, dressed in an elegant black suit. She said something in Korean, then switched to halting English when Amara didn't respond. You are awake. Good. I am Sora. You are safe here. Where is it? Amara's voice came out like gravel. Her throat burned. Mr. Min's private office. Above Eclipse Club. Sora moved to a side table, poured water from a crystal pitcher into a glass. You were very cold. Very sick. He brought you here. Amara took the water with shaking hands. Mr. Min? The owner. Of the club. Of many things. Sora's expression was carefully neutral. He will want to speak with you when you are stronger. For now, rest. Are you hungry? Amara's stomach answered before she could, a loud, embarrassing growl. She hadn't eaten since yesterday morning. Marcus had come home before she could serve the Christmas dinner she'd made. Sora's expression softened slightly. I will bring food. Wait. Amara set down the glass. Why did he help me? What does he want? For a moment, Sora looked almost sad. He saw you. That is all. She left before Amara could ask anything else. The food arrived 20 minutes later on a tray that looked like something from a five-star hotel. Traditional Korean stew, still steaming, with rice and banchan. The smell alone made Amara's eyes water. She ate mechanically at first, then with increasing desperation, not realizing how hollow she'd been inside. How long had it been since someone had given her something without expecting payment? She was scraping the last grains of rice from the bowl when the door opened again. This time, a man entered. Amara knew immediately this was Mr. Min. He was tall for a Korean man, maybe 6 feet, wearing a perfectly tailored charcoal suit. Mid-30s, with sharp features and eyes that seemed to catalog everything about her in one sweep. There was something dangerous in the way he moved, controlled, precise, like a predator who didn't need to rush because he always caught his prey. Miss. He paused. I don't know your name. Amara. She set down the bowl, suddenly conscious of how she must look, hair tangled, wearing an oversized shirt that wasn't hers, makeup smeared. Amara Okonkwo. Amara. He said it carefully, getting the pronunciation right on the first try. I'm Hyeon-woo Min. How are you feeling? Confused. She met his eyes, refusing to look away even though every instinct screamed at her to be careful around this man. Why did you bring me here? He moved to the window, hands in his pockets. Because no one deserves to die alone in the snow on Christmas. You don't know anything about me. I could be anyone. A thief. A con artist. Are you? No. Then it doesn't matter what you could be. He turned back to her. What matters is what I saw, someone who needed help. I helped. That's all. Amara laughed, but it came out bitter. Nobody does that. There's always a price. Something flickered across Hyeon-woo's face. Understanding, maybe. Or recognition. You're right. Usually there is. But not tonight. Tonight, you rest. Tomorrow, we'll figure out what happens next. I can't pay you. I'm not asking you to. Then what are you asking? He was silent for a long moment. Tell me what happened. Who put you in the snow? Amara's throat tightened. Why do you care? Because I've been there. The words came out flat, matter of fact. Not literally. But close enough. Someone left me in the cold once. No one helped. So now, when I can, I help. There was a story there, Amara could feel it. Something dark and painful underneath that controlled exterior. But she didn't push. She was too tired, too raw. Instead, she heard herself talking, words spilling out like poison she needed to purge. She told him about Marcus. About leaving Lagos, the promises, the slow realization that she'd been nothing but a temporary diversion. About the watch, the cruel dismissal, the door slamming in her face. The shopping bags full of gifts she'd bought with money she didn't have, trying to prove she was worth keeping. Hyeon-woo listened without interrupting. His expression never changed, but Amara saw his jaw tighten when she described how Marcus had thrown her belongings into the hallway. When she finished, the silence stretched long enough to be uncomfortable. This Marcus, Hyeon-woo finally said. He is Korean? Korean American. I work in finance. And he's still in Seoul? Yes. Why? Hyeon-woo's smile was cold enough to frost glass. No reason. Just curious. He moved toward the door. You'll stay here tonight. Tomorrow, Sora will help you figure out your next steps. If you need anything, press the button by the bed. Someone will come. Mr. Min. Amara stopped him at the door. Thank you. Really? I don't understand why you're doing this, but thank you. He looked back at her, and for just a second the dangerous mask slipped. She saw something young underneath, something that remembered pain. "Get some sleep, Amara. Things always look different in the morning." But he was wrong. When morning came, nothing looked different. It looked worse. Amara woke to sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating exactly how out of place she was. This room probably cost more per night than she'd made in a month at the hospital. The shirt she was wearing, Hyeon-woo's, she realized now, probably cost more than her entire wardrobe back home. She found her clothes cleaned and folded on a chair. Her phone, miraculously, was there too. Dead, but there. She plugged it in and waited, dreading what she'd find. 17 missed calls from her mother in Lagos. 10 texts from her sister. Nothing from Marcus. The texts from her sister started worried, then angry, then terrified. The last one, sent 6 hours ago, "Amara, please just let us know you're alive. Mama is losing her mind." Guilt crushed her chest. She'd been so caught up in her own drama, she hadn't thought about how her silence would terrify them. She typed quickly, "I'm okay. I'm safe. I'm sorry. I'll call soon. I promise." The response came back in seconds, "Where have you been?" Amara stared at the screen. How could she explain? That she'd been thrown out on Christmas Eve and nearly died? That a stranger, a dangerous stranger, had saved her? That she was currently wearing his clothes in his private room above a nightclub? She settled for, "It's complicated. I'll explain everything. I just needed some time." Her sister's response was 3 angry emojis and "You better call Mama right now." But Amara couldn't. Not yet. Not until she figured out what she was going to say. "Sorry, Mama, but you were right. Marcus was using me. I should have listened. Now I'm homeless in a foreign country with no money and no plan." A knock on the door saved her from spiraling further. Sora entered with fresh clothes, simple but expensive-looking jeans and a sweater, and a breakfast tray. "Mr. Min wants to speak with you," Sora said. "After you eat. Take your time." The breakfast was Western this time. Eggs, toast, fresh fruit. Coffee that smelled like heaven. Amara ate slowly, trying to settle her nerves. What did Hyeon-woo want? Had he changed his mind about helping? Was he going to demand payment after all? The clothes fit perfectly, which should have been comforting but instead felt unsettling. How had he known her size? How much had he already learned about her while she slept? Sora led her through a hallway that screamed money, artwork on the walls that looked original, not prints. Thick carpet that muffled footsteps. Everything dark and luxurious and slightly intimidating. They stopped at a heavy wooden door. Sora knocked once, then opened it. Hyeon-woo's office was enormous. One wall was entirely glass, overlooking Seoul. The others were lined with bookshelves and abstract art. A massive desk dominated the center, but Hyeon-woo wasn't sitting behind it. He was standing by the window, phone pressed to his ear, speaking rapid Korean in a tone that made Amara's spine straighten instinctively. He glanced at her, held up one finger, "Wait," and continued his conversation. Whatever he was discussing, it wasn't pleasant. His free hand was clenched into a fist, and his jaw was tight with barely controlled anger. Finally, he said something short and sharp, then ended the call. He stood there for a moment, visibly collecting himself, before turning to face her with a carefully neutral expression. "Amara. Good. Sit, please." He gestured to a leather couch by the window. "How are you feeling?" "Better. Thank you." She sat, and he joined her, keeping a respectful distance between them. "The clothes, the food, everything, it's too much." "You don't have to." "I know I don't have to." He cut her off gently. "I want to. Now, let's talk about what happens next." Amara's stomach dropped. "You want me to leave?" "What?" "No." He frowned. "Why would you think that?" "Because I'm a stranger. Because this is charity. Because Stop. His voice was firm but not harsh. Let me be clear. You can stay as long as you need to. I have several properties. This office has a spare room you're welcome to use until you figure things out. No strings. No expectations. Amara stared at him. Why? I told you last night. No, I mean really why? People don't just do this. Especially not. She gestured around the office. People like you. Hyeon-woo's expression hardened slightly. People like me? Rich. Powerful. Busy. She met his eyes. Dangerous. For a long moment, he said nothing. Then, slowly, he nodded. You're right. I am dangerous. I run businesses that exist in gray areas. I make decisions that affect people's lives. I have enemies who would love to see me fall. He leaned forward. But that doesn't mean I've forgotten what it feels like to be powerless. To be thrown away. And when I see someone in that position, someone I can help, I help. Simple as that. Nothing is ever simple. No, he agreed. It isn't. But some things are straightforward. You need a place to stay. I have one. You need time to figure out your next move. I can give you that time. Accept it or don't, but stop questioning my motives. They're exactly what they appear to be. Amara wanted to argue, but something in his tone stopped her. He wasn't trying to convince her or manipulate her. He was simply stating facts and letting her decide. Okay, she said finally. But I want to be useful. I can't just sit around accepting charity. Let me work. Clean, organize, something, please. Hyeon-woo considered this. You worked at a hospital in Lagos? I was a nursing assistant. 3 years. Sora could use help with scheduling and organization. Her English is good but not perfect. And I have business contacts from all over, Africa, Europe, America. Someone who understands cultural differences could be valuable. He paused. But only if you want to. No pressure. It wasn't much, but it was something. A way to feel less like a charity case. Amara nodded. Yes. I want to. Good. Then it's settled. Hyeon-woo stood, signaling the conversation was over. Sora will show you the ropes. Take the next few days to settle in. Learn the building, the routines. We'll start the actual work next week. Amara stood too, feeling slightly dizzy from how fast her life was changing. 24 hours ago, she'd been dying in the snow. Now she had a room, clothes, food, and a job. It didn't feel real. Mr. Min, she said as he walked her to the door. That phone call. Before. Are you okay? He paused, hand on the doorknob. When he looked at her, there was surprise in his eyes. Why do you ask? Because you looked angry, and now you're pretending you weren't. For the first time since she'd met him, Hyeon-woo smiled. Really smiled, not the polite mask he'd been wearing. You're observant. Part of nursing. You learn to read people. Well, Nurse Okonkwo, I appreciate the concern. But I'm fine. Just business complications. Nothing you need to worry about. But Amara saw the tension in his shoulders as he opened the door. Whatever that phone call had been about, it was definitely something to worry about. She just didn't know yet that the worry was for her. The next 3 days passed in a strange, suspended reality. Amara learned the rhythms of Eclipse, the club that served as the public face of Hyeon-woo's empire. During the day, it was quiet, staff cleaning and restocking. At night, it transformed into Seoul's most exclusive night spot, where the rich and powerful came to see and be seen. Sora taught her the basics. How to screen calls, how to manage Hyeon-woo's impossible schedule. How to navigate the complex web of business relationships that kept everything running. It was overwhelming and exhausting and exactly what Amara needed, something to focus on that wasn't her own disaster of a life. She also learned about Hyeon-woo. Not from him directly. He was courteous but distant, appearing briefly in the morning to review the day's schedule, then disappearing into meetings or phone calls or mysterious business that no one discussed in detail. But Amara heard things. I saw things. Like the way the staff treated him, with respect tinged with genuine affection, not fear. Like the envelope of cash he gave to one of the bartenders whose mother was sick. Like the sharp, dangerous edge that appeared when someone tried to shortchange one of the cleaning women. He's not what people think, Sora said one afternoon as they organized files. People see the clubs, the money, the power. They call him gangster. Mafia. Yakuza, though he's Korean not Japanese. She smiled slightly. They're not completely wrong. But they're not completely right either. What is he, then? Amara asked. Sora was quiet for a moment. A man who built something from nothing. Who protects his own. Who doesn't forget where he came from. She glanced at Amara. Like you. Amara laughed bitterly. I haven't built anything. I ran away from home for a man who didn't want me. I'm the opposite of impressive. You survived, Sora said simply. You didn't give up. That's impressive. Before Amara could respond, raised voices echoed from Hyeon-woo's office. She couldn't make out words, but the tone was clear, an argument. A moment later, the door flew open and a man stormed out. Korean, maybe mid-20s, expensive clothes, face red with anger. He stopped when he saw Amara, his expression shifting from fury to something calculating. He said something in Korean. Amara looked at Sora helplessly. Sora responded sharply, stepping slightly in front of Amara. The man sneered, said something else that made Sora's face flush with anger, then stalked toward the elevator. What was that about? Amara asked. Nothing important. But Sora's hands were shaking as she gathered the spilled files. That night, Amara couldn't sleep. The interaction bothered her, though she couldn't say why. She wandered to the kitchen, a massive, professional-grade space on the same floor as her room, looking for tea. She found Hyeon-woo instead. He was sitting at the counter in the dark, a glass of whiskey in front of him, staring at nothing. He looked different without the suit jacket, shirt sleeves rolled up, tie loosened, hair slightly mussed. Younger. More human. Sorry, Amara said, backing toward the door. I didn't know anyone was here. It's fine. I can't sleep either. He gestured to the cabinets. Tea's in the left one. Help yourself. Amara hesitated, then decided to stay. She made chamomile tea, the ritual soothing even if the drink wouldn't be. When she turned back, Hyeon-woo was watching her with an expression she couldn't read. That man today, she said, leaning against the counter across from him. The angry one. Who was he? Someone who doesn't understand the word no. Hyeon-woo took a sip of whiskey. He wanted to use Eclipse for something I don't allow. When I refused, he got upset. Will he cause problems? He'll try. Hyeon-woo's smile was cold. He'll fail. Amara wrapped her hands around the warm mug. Sora said you're not what people think. Sora talks too much. She respects you. They all do, but they're also a little scared. Fear and respect often go together in my world. That's sad. Hyeon-woo blinked, clearly not expecting that response. Sad? That you can't have one without the other. That people can't just respect you for being decent. I'm not decent, Amara. I've done things that would shock you. Hurt people. Made choices that kept me up at night. He met her eyes. Don't make the mistake of thinking I'm a good man just because I helped you. I don't think you're a good man, Amara said quietly. I think you're a complicated man. There's a difference. They sat in silence for a while, the only sound the hum of the refrigerator and the distant noise of traffic below. Why can't you sleep? Hyeon-woo finally asked. Amara shrugged. My brain won't shut off. Keep replaying everything. Marcus. The snow. Wondering what I'm doing here. Do you regret staying? No. That's what scares me. She looked at him. This should feel wrong. Dangerous. But it doesn't. It feels safer than anywhere I've been in months. What does that say about me? That you have good instincts. Hyeon-woo set down his glass. You're safe here, Amara. Whatever else I am, whatever mistakes I've made, I protect what's mine. And right now, you're under my protection. No one will hurt you here. Something in his tone made her chest tight. Why do you care? I told you. No, really. Why me? You must see people in trouble all the time. You can't save everyone. Hyeon-woo was quiet for so long, Amara thought he wouldn't answer. Then, when I was 8, my mother dropped me at a children's home. Just left me there with a note saying she couldn't afford to keep me. It was winter. Snowing. I sat on the steps for hours, convinced she'd come back. His voice was flat, emotionless. She never did. And no one at the home cared. They fed me, gave me a bed, but no one cared that a kid was sitting outside freezing, waiting for a mother who was never coming back. Amara's throat tightened. Eventually I grew up. Got smart, got tough, got out. Built all this. He gestured around them. But I never forgot what it felt like to be abandoned in the cold. So when I see someone else in that position, someone I can help, I do. Simple as that. That's not simple, Amara whispered. That's beautiful. Hyeon-woo's laugh was harsh. There's nothing beautiful about what I do. Not what you do. Who you are underneath it all. She set down her tea, moved closer. You were a kid who got hurt, and instead of letting it make you cruel, you decided to make sure other people don't feel that way. That's beautiful. He looked at her then, really looked at her, and Amara saw the walls crack just a little. I saw the 8-year-old boy still sitting on those steps, waiting for someone to care. You should get some sleep, he said, voice rough. Long day tomorrow. Amara nodded, understanding the dismissal for what it was, self-protection. She rinsed her mug, started toward the door, then paused. Hyeon-woo? She'd never used his first name before. Thank you for telling me. And for what it's worth, I think your mother made the worst mistake of her life when she left you. She didn't wait for a response. But as she walked back to her room, she felt his eyes following her, and something had shifted between them. Something that would change everything. Before we continue, can I ask you a question? Where in the world are you watching from? Comment below because we would love to know how far these stories travel, and hit that subscribe button because there are new stories you do not want to miss. The first real threat came on a Tuesday. Amara had been at Eclipse for 2 weeks, falling into a comfortable routine. Morning coffee with Sora, reviewing the day's schedule. Afternoon calls with business contacts, her nursing background making her naturally good at managing difficult personalities. Evenings helping coordinate the club's operations, watching Seoul's elite flow through the doors in designer clothes and fake smiles. She'd also grown closer to Hyeon-woo, though neither of them acknowledged it directly. Late-night conversations in the kitchen. Him teaching her basic Korean phrases. She made him laugh with stories about Legos, about her chaotic family, about the patients she'd cared for who'd become friends. She was starting to feel like maybe, possibly, she could build a life here. Then Marcus showed up. Amara was in the office, sorting through files, when Sora burst in. You need to leave. Now. What? Why? Your ex-boyfriend. He's downstairs demanding to see Mr. Min. Security won't let him up but, Sora grabbed Amara's arm. He's claiming Mr. Min kidnapped you. That you're being held against your will. He's threatening to call the police. Ice flooded Amara's veins. How did he find me? I don't know, but Mr. Min is on his way back from a meeting. You need to be gone before. Before what? Hyeon-woo's voice came from the doorway. His expression was terrifyingly calm. Amara, is there someone downstairs claiming to know you? It's Marcus. I don't know how he. Social media, Hyeon-woo said flatly. Eclipse's Instagram is public. Someone probably saw you in the background of a staff photo. Recognize you. He pulled out his phone, pressed a button. Bring him up. No, Amara said immediately. Please don't. Just tell him I left. Tell him anything. I don't want to see him. Hyeon-woo's expression softened slightly. I understand. But if we turn him away, he'll make this a bigger problem. Police, lawyers, possibly media attention. Better to handle it now, cleanly. You don't have to see him if you don't want to. But I need to. Before Amara could argue, the elevator dinged. Marcus stepped out, flanked by two of Eclipse's security guards who looked ready to throw him back in at the slightest provocation. He looked exactly the same. Designer suit, perfect hair, that confident smirk that used to make Amara's heart race and now just made her stomach turn. His eyes swept the office, landing on her with satisfaction. There you are. He strode forward like he owned the place. Amara, what the hell is going on? You disappear for 2 weeks, won't answer your phone, and I find out you're shacking up with some club owner? Are you insane? Get out, Amara said, voice shaking. Not until we talk. I don't know what lies this guy told you, but... Mr. Kim. Hyeon-woo's voice cut through the room like a blade. I believe you're confused. Ms. Okonkwo is here by choice. She works for me. She's free to leave whenever she wants. Marcus laughed. Right. And I'm supposed to believe you're not taking advantage of her? She's vulnerable, she has nothing, and suddenly she's living with you? I'm not stupid. Could have fooled me, Hyeon-woo said mildly. Listen, whoever you are. I'm the man whose club you're standing in. Whose patient you're testing. And whose protection Ms. Okonkwo is under. Hyeon-woo moved closer, and suddenly the temperature in the room dropped. Now, let me make something very clear. Amara is here because I offered her help when she needed it. When you threw her out in the snow on Christmas Eve. Remember that? Marcus's smirk faltered. That's not, we had a fight. I was going to. You were going to what? Let her freeze to death? Congratulations, you almost succeeded. I found her collapsed outside, hypothermic, because of you. So before you start making accusations about who's taking advantage, maybe look in a mirror. You don't know anything about our relationship. I know she deserves better than you. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Marcus's face flushed red. This is bullshit. Amara, let's go. Whatever he's paying you, I'll double it. Just come home. Home? Amara's voice was stronger now, anger burning through the fear. You threw me out, Marcus. You said I was embarrassed. That I was temporary. Those were your exact words. I was upset. I didn't mean. Yes, you did. And you know what? You were right. I was temporary. But not because I wasn't good enough. Because you were never worth staying for. Marcus's expression turned ugly. Fine. Stay here, then. Be this guy's charity case. See how long that lasts when he gets bored. You think you're special? You're just another. He didn't get to finish. Hyeon-woo moved so fast Amara almost missed it. One moment he was standing several feet away, the next, his hand was fisted in Marcus's collar, slamming him against the wall. I want you to listen very carefully, Hyeon-woo said, voice soft and absolutely deadly. You're going to leave this building. You're going to delete Amara's number. You're going to forget she exists. And if I hear that you've contacted her, harassed her, or even thought about her too hard, I'm going to make your life very difficult. Do you understand? You can't threaten me. I'll go to the police. Please do. I have excellent lawyers. And several very clear security videos of you trespassing and verbally abusing one of my employees. I also have connections throughout the city that you can't begin to imagine. So by all means, try me. Marcus looked at Amara desperately. You're really going to let him do this? Yes, Amara said. I am. Now get out. For a moment, Marcus looked like he might argue. Then Hyeon-woo did something, just a slight shift in pressure, a subtle increase in the threat radii from his body, and Marcus crumbled. Fine. Whatever. She's not worth this anyway. Hyeon-woo released him with a shove toward the elevator. The security guards moved to flank Marcus, making it clear the decision was final. As the elevator doors closed, Marcus shot one last venomous look at Amara, and she felt the final threat of whatever they'd had snap completely. The silence that followed was deafening. Are you okay? Hyeon-woo asked, and the contrast between his tone now, gentle, concerned, and 30 seconds ago was jarring. I think so. Amara's hands were shaking. I'm sorry. I didn't know he'd come here. I didn't think he'd care enough to look for me. He doesn't care about you. He cares about losing control over you. There's a difference. Hyeon-woo moved closer but didn't touch her. Did I overstep? I probably should have let you handle it yourself. No. Amara surprised herself with how firm her voice was. No, that was, thank you. I don't think I could have stood up to him like that. You already did. You told him to leave. Everything else was just a backup. But Amara saw the tension in his shoulders, the way his hands were still clenched into fists. You wanted to hurt him. Very much. Why didn't you? Because you didn't need me to. You needed me to make him go away, not to beat him senseless, no matter how satisfying that would have been. Hyeon-woo's expression was wry. I'm trying to be civilized. You threatened to ruin his life. I said civilized, not soft. Despite everything, Amara laughed. It came out a little hysterical, but it felt good. I can't believe he actually showed up. The audacity. Men like him always think they're entitled to second chances. To explain. To closure. Hyeon-woo's voice hardened. They never consider that maybe they've already gotten more than they deserved. There was a story there too, Amara realized. Another wound, another betrayal. How many people had hurt Hyeon-woo before he built these walls? Will he come back? She asked. No. He's a coward. Cowards fold when confronted with real power. Hyeon-woo finally unclenched his fists. But just in case, I'll have security on alert. And maybe you should avoid posting on social media for a while. At least publicly. I don't post much anyway. Good. He studied her face. You're really okay? Honestly? I feel lighter. Like I've been carrying this weight of what if he comes back and now I know. He came back, and I didn't want him. That's freeing. Something flickered in Hyeon-woo's eyes. Relief? Satisfaction? Something else she couldn't name? I'm glad. You deserve better than spending energy on someone who never valued you. Is that what you tell yourself? The words slipped out before Amara could stop them. About your mother? The air between them went taut. For a moment, she thought she'd gone too far, crossed a line that couldn't be uncrossed. Then Hyeon-woo's expression softened into something almost vulnerable. I'm working on it, he said quietly. Amara nodded. Me too. They stood there in the aftermath, the adrenaline slowly draining, leaving behind something raw and honest. Sora had disappeared at some point, giving them privacy. The office felt enormous and intimate all at once. I should get back to work, Amara said, though she didn't move. Or, Hyeon-woo said, you could take the rest of the day off. Process what just happened. Order takeout. Watch terrible television. Whatever you need. What I need is to not think about Marcus anymore. Work helps with that. All right. But if you change your mind, I'll let you know. She smiled. Thank you. For the protection thing. The scary Mafia boss thing. All of it. Anytime. He said it lightly, but Amara heard the promise underneath. he meant it. Whatever came next, he'd be there. And that should have been terrifying. Instead, it felt like the first safe thing she'd had in years. The weeks that followed brought a rhythm that felt almost normal. Amara threw herself into work, learning the intricacies of Hyeon-woo's empire, and it was an empire, not just a clips, but restaurants, import businesses, real estate holdings scattered across Seoul. All legitimate on paper, though Amara suspected some operated in those gray areas Hyeon-woo had mentioned. She didn't ask too many questions. Maybe that made her complicit. Maybe that made her smart. She couldn't decide which. What she did know was that she was good at this work. Her nursing background, assessing situations quickly, staying calm under pressure, managing difficult personalities, translated perfectly to managing Hyeon-woo's business contacts. People responded to her warmth, her directness, her ability to bridge cultural gaps. "You're a natural," Sora said one afternoon, watching Amara smoothly handle a tense negotiation call with a supplier who was trying to raise prices. "Mr. Min made a good choice bringing you on." "He made a lucky choice," Amara corrected. "I literally fell at his feet." "No such thing as luck. Only timing and decision." Sora smiled mysteriously and went back to her own work. But timing was everything, Amara was learning. Like the timing that had her in the office late one evening when Hyeon-woo got a call that made him go pale. "When?" he demanded, switching to rapid Korean. "Then, is she safe?" "Good. Keep her there." "I'm coming now." He hung up, already moving toward the door. Then he paused, looked back at Amara. "I need to go. Family emergency. I don't know when I'll be back. Is there anything I can do?" "Hold down the fort. Tell Sora I'll call when I can." He hesitated, then added, "And Amara? Stay in the building tonight. Don't go out alone." "Why? What's wrong?" "Just, stay inside. Please." He was gone before she could press further, leaving Amara alone with a growing sense of unease. She called Sora, who promised to come back to the office. Then she did what she always did when worried, she worked. Hours passed. Sora arrived, equally concerned but with no more information. They ordered dinner, worked through files, and tried not to watch the clock. Finally, near midnight, Hyeon-woo returned. He looked exhausted. More than that, he looked shaken. Amara had never seen him anything less than perfectly controlled, but now his tie was askew, his hair messed up, and there was something haunted in his eyes. "What happened?" she asked. "My sister. She was attacked. Someone trying to get to me through her." His voice was flat, emotionless in that way that meant he was feeling too much. "She's okay. Shaken up, but okay. I've moved her somewhere safe." "I'm so sorry." Amara stood, instinctively moving toward him. "Is there anything?" "This is my life, Amara." He cut her off, voice sharp. "This is what I am. People have enemies. Those enemies go after what we care about. My sister, my businesses, anyone connected to me. That's the reality." "I know. Do you?" He laughed bitterly. "Do you really understand what it means to be part of this world? Tonight, someone hurt my sister because of me. Because I built this empire, made these choices, crossed these lines. And she paid for it. But she's safe now. This time. What about next time? Or the time after that?" He ran a hand through his hair, frustration radiating from him. "This is why can't I?" He didn't finish, but Amara understood what he wasn't saying. "Why don't I let people close? Why can't I afford attachments? Why does everyone I care about become a target?" "You can't live your whole life alone just because it's safer," she said quietly. "Watch me. I have been watching you. And you know what I see? Someone who takes care of his staff like family. Who pays for medical bills and weddings and funerals. Who brought a stranger in from the cold because he remembered what it felt like to be abandoned. That's not someone who's okay with being alone. That's different. How? Because those are transactions. Responsibilities. Not. He struggled for the word. Not love, Amara finished for him. You're saying you can handle responsibility but not love. That one makes sense and the other is too dangerous. Yes, that's the saddest thing I've ever heard. Hyeon-woo's laugh was harsh. You think I don't know that? You think I'm not aware that I built this incredible life and can't actually live it? That I have everything and nothing at the same time? So change it. I can't. You mean you won't? It's the same thing. It's really not. Amara moved closer, closing the distance between them. You're choosing fear over everything else. You're choosing to protect yourself instead of living. I'm choosing to protect the people I care about. By pushing them away? By making sure they can never get close enough to matter? That's not protection, Hyeon-woo. That's cowardice. The word hung between them like a slap. Hyeon-woo's expression went cold. You don't know what you're talking about. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I spent 6 months making myself smaller for Marcus. Apologizing for existing. Shrinking so he'd feel bigger. And you know what? It didn't work. He still threw me away. So I'm done making myself less to make other people comfortable. And maybe you should be done doing the same thing. I'm not. You are. You're making yourself emotionally unavailable to keep people safe. But all you're really doing is keeping yourself safe from getting hurt again. And I get it. Your mother left you. That's trauma. But you can't let that 8-year-old boy control your entire life. Stop. No. Someone needs to say this. You saved me, Hyeon-woo. You gave me shelter and safety and a chance to rebuild. But you're drowning in your own fear and refusing to accept the same help. That's hypocritical. I said stop. His voice cracked on the last word, and suddenly the mask shattered completely. Amara saw it all, the fear, the pain, the desperate loneliness of someone who'd built walls so high he couldn't see over them anymore. He was breathing hard, hands clenched, looking at her like she'd reached inside his chest and squeezed. I can't lose anyone else, he whispered. I can't. Do you understand? Everyone I've ever cared about either leaves or gets hurt. My mother. My friends from home. My first, he stopped, swallowed hard. I can't do that again. I can't watch someone suffer because of my choices. So you'd rather suffer alone? Yes. That's not sustainable. I've managed for 30 years. Have you, though? Really? Because from where I'm standing, you look exhausted. And he did. Beneath the expensive clothes and controlled exterior, he looked like someone who'd been running for so long he'd forgotten why he started. Someone who'd built an empire but lost himself in the process. Amara took a breath, made a decision. I'm not leaving. Hyeon-woo's eyes snapped to hers. What? Whatever's in your head right now, that you need to push me away for my own good, that I'm safer without you, that this is for the best, I'm telling you I'm not going anywhere. I'm staying. By choice. Fully informed about the risks. I'm staying. You don't understand what you're saying. I understand perfectly. I'm saying that your protection, your care, your friendship means something to me. And I'm willing to accept the risks that come with that. You don't get to make that decision for me. Amara. I was dying in the snow 2 months ago. You saved me. Not just physically, you gave me purpose, dignity, a reason to get up in the morning. You taught me that I'm worth more than someone's casual cruelty. And now you think you can protect me by pushing me away? That's not how this works. Then how does it work? His voice was raw. You let people in. You trust them to make their own choices. You stop carrying every burden alone. She reached out, placed a hand on his arm. You let yourself be human, Hyeon-woo. Flawed and scared and needing help sometimes, just like the rest of us. For a long moment, he just stared at her hand on his arm. Then, slowly, his other hand came up to cover hers. His fingers were cold. "I don't know how to do that," he admitted. "Then learn. We'll figure it out together." Together. He said the word like it was foreign, like he was testing how it felt in his mouth. Together, Amara confirmed. Something shifted in his expression. The walls didn't come down completely, that would take time, maybe years, but they cracked. Just enough to let light through. "You're stubborn," he said. "You have no idea. You're also probably going to regret this." "Let me worry about that." "And you're absolutely certain?" "Because once you're in, once you're part of this world, there's no easy way out." Amara thought about Lagos. About her family, her old life, the person she'd been before Marcus. Then she thought about who she was now, stronger, clearer, more herself than she'd ever been. And she thought about the man in front of her, damaged and dangerous and desperately in need of someone to see him as human. "I'm certain," she said. Hyeon-woo pulled her closer, and for the first time since she'd known him, he let himself be vulnerable. Really vulnerable. His forehead dropped to her shoulder, and she felt the shudder that went through him, exhaustion and relief and fear all mixed together. "Thank you," he whispered. Amara wrapped her arms around him, holding him together while he fell apart just a little. Outside, Seoul sparkled with a million lights. Inside, two broken people started to figure out how to heal each other. It wasn't love yet. But it was something. Something real and honest and maybe, eventually, worth the risk. Before we continue, can I ask you a question? Where in the world are you watching from? Comment below because we would love to know how far these stories travel, and hit that subscribe button because there are new stories you do not want to miss. The weeks after that night shifted something fundamental between them. Hyeon-woo didn't suddenly become open and vulnerable, that wasn't realistic. But the walls became more like doors, and Amara learned which ones she could push on and which needed time. They fell into new patterns. Morning coffee became a ritual they shared, discussing schedules and plans but also just talking. About everything and nothing. He taught her more Korean, patiently correcting her pronunciation. She told him stories about Lagos, about her family's chaos, about the grandmother who'd raised her to never accept less than she deserved. "She sounds formidable," Hyeon-woo said one morning. She was. Still is, actually, though she's older now. Softer. Amara smiled. "She told me not to go to Seoul. Said Marcus was using me. I didn't listen." "Do you regret it? Coming here?" "I regret Marcus. I don't regret Seoul." She looked at him. "I don't regret this." The this hung between them, undefined but understood. They were something, more than employer and employee, definitely more than strangers, not quite friends, not yet lovers. Something that existed in its own category. The club staff noticed. Amara caught knowing looks from Sora, smiles from the bartenders. But no one said anything directly. In Hyeon-woo's world, discretion was currency. Then Valentine's Day approached, and everything got complicated again. "I hate this holiday," Hyeon-woo announced, glaring at the decorations Sora had insisted on for the club. "It's commercial nonsense." "Someone hurt you on Valentine's Day," Amara guessed. "What?" "No. It's just stupid. Definitely someone hurt you on Valentine's Day." He shot her an exasperated look. "Fine. When I was 16, I asked a girl out. Saved up money for flowers, made a whole plan. She laughed in my face. Said she didn't date orphans from the home. Happy? That's terrible. It was years ago. Don't make it not terrible." Amara moved closer to where he was standing. "You know she was an idiot, right? Because I'm so clearly a catch now? Because you were worth more than her cruelty then, and you're worth more than her memory now." Hyeon-woo looked at her for a long moment. "Do you always say exactly what you think?" "Usually." "Is that a problem?" "No." His voice softened. "It's actually refreshing. They stood there in comfortable silence, watching the staff finish the decorations. Eclipse would be packed on Valentine's Day, it always was. People desperate for romance, for connection, for proof they weren't alone. I never asked, Hyeon-woo said suddenly. Have you talked to your family? About what happened with Marcus? Amara's stomach clenched. I've been avoiding it. Sent a few texts saying I'm fine. But actually explaining everything? She shook her head. I'm not ready for the "I told you so" conversation. They might surprise you. You don't know my mother. She's very good at being right. Sounds like someone else I know. Amara laughed despite herself. Fair point. She pulled out her phone, stared at it. Maybe I should call. It's been too long. They're probably worried sick. Do you want privacy? No. Stay. In case I need moral support. She dialed before she could change her mind. Her mother answered on the second ring. Amara Okonkwo, do you have any idea how worried I've been? Hi, Mama. Don't hi, Mama me. 2 months, Amara. 2 months of barely any contact. I thought you were dead. Your sister thought you were dead. We almost got on a plane. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Things were complicated. Complicated how? What happened with that Marcus boy? Your sister said something about him throwing you out? Amara took a breath and told her mother everything. Well, not everything. She edited out the parts about Hyeon-woo's business dealings and exactly how dangerous his world could be. But she told her about the breakup, the homelessness, the rescue, the job. Her mother was silent for a long time after she finished. Mama? This man, her mother finally said. This Hyeon-woo. He's been good to you? Yes. Very good. And you're safe? You're eating? You have a warm place to sleep? Yes, Mama. All of that. And you're not just running from one man's care to another man's control? Amara glanced at Hyeon-woo, who was pretending to check his phone but was clearly listening. No. I'm working. I'm independent. I'm actually happy, Mama. Well. Her mother's voice softened slightly. That's all I ever wanted for you. But Amara, promise me something. What? Don't lose yourself again. Not for Marcus, not for this new man, not for anyone. You're worth more than that. Tears stung Amara's eyes. I know, Mama. I'm learning that. Good. Now, when are you coming to visit? Your grandmother wants to meet this man who saved her granddaughter. Mama, it's not like that. Isn't it? Amara looked at Hyeon-woo again, and found him watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. I don't know what it is yet, she admitted. Well, figure it out and then bring him home so we can feed him properly. You can't trust a man until you've seen how he handles your grandmother's pepper soup. Despite everything, Amara laughed. I love you, Mama. I love you too, baby girl. Be safe. And Amara? I'm proud of you, for surviving. For being strong. Your grandmother was right, you were always meant for more than that Marcus boy offered. After they hung up, Amara wiped her eyes and found Hyeon-woo offering her a tissue. Your family sounds amazing, he said. They're overwhelming. Same thing, sometimes. He paused. She's right, though. You are worth more than what Marcus offered. I hope you know that now. I'm starting to. She dabbed at her eyes. She wants to meet you, by the way. She wants to meet me? Hyeon-woo looked genuinely startled. Don't worry, I told her we're not, that we're just. She trailed off, realizing she had no idea how to finish that sentence. Just what? His voice was careful. I don't know, Amara admitted. What are we, Hyeon-woo? The question hung between them like a challenge. For a moment, she thought he might deflect, make a joke, change the subject. Instead, he stepped closer. I don't know either, he said quietly. I'm not good at this. At letting people in. At being this. Vulnerable. Humans. All the things you keep telling me I need to be. You don't need to be anything for me except honest. Then honestly? I think about you constantly. I worry when you're out of my sight. I look forward to morning coffee more than anything else in my day. And that terrifies me, because I don't know how to want someone without wanting to protect them from everything, including myself. Amara's breath caught. Hyeon-woo. I know it's not fair to you. I know you deserve better than someone this damaged. But I can't seem to stop myself from falling anyway. Falling? Her voice came out whisper soft. For you. I'm falling for you, Amara. Had been for weeks. Maybe since the first time you called me out for being hypocritical. Maybe since you told me your mother was right. Maybe since you decided to stay despite every reason to run. He took her hand. I don't know how to do this right. I'll probably mess it up spectacularly. But if you're willing to risk it, I'd like to try. Amara felt like the world had tilted sideways. This man, powerful, dangerous, controlled Hyeon-woo Min, was standing in front of her offering his heart like it was something fragile and precious. Which, she realized, it was. I'm terrified, she admitted. Me too. I barely know who I am anymore. 6 months ago I was Amara, the nursing assistant. Then I was Amara, the girlfriend. Then Amara was abandoned. Now I'm Amara the, what? I don't even know. You're Amara, Hyeon-woo said simply. Strong, stubborn, brilliant Amara who survived ice and betrayal and somehow decided I was worth staying for. That's who you are. And you're Hyeon-woo. Complicated, protective, secretly soft Hyeon-woo who saw someone dying in the snow and refused to let them go. That's who you are. They stood there, hands linked, both scared and both brave enough to admit it. This could be a disaster, Amara said. Probably will be. We could hurt each other. Almost definitely. But we could also. She trailed off, not sure how to finish. We could also heal each other, Hyeon-woo finished. Help each other become more than we were alone. Isn't that worth the risk? Amara thought about Marcus, about the way love had felt like walking on glass, careful, painful, destined to draw blood. Then she thought about this, about Hyeon-woo's patient teaching and late-night conversations and the way he looked at her like she was someone worth protecting not because she was weak but because she was valuable. Yes, she said. It's worth the risk. Hyeon-woo pulled her closer, and for the first time, she let herself lean into him completely. His arms came around her, solid and warm and safe. She felt his heart beating against her cheek, fast and nervous. Vulnerable. We're really doing this, he murmured into her hair. We're really doing this. Valentine's Day is tomorrow. I know. I'm supposed to hate Valentine's Day. You can make an exception. He laughed, the sound rumbling through his chest. I can make an exception. They stayed like that for a long time, holding each other in the empty club while Seoul woke up around them. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't guaranteed. But it was real, and honest, and maybe that was enough. But the universe, it seemed, had other plans. The attack came during Valentine's Day dinner. Hyeon-woo had closed Eclipse to regular customers, turned the main floor into an intimate space with candles and roses and food from Seoul's best restaurants. Just for them. It should have been romantic. It should have been perfect. Instead, it became a nightmare. They were laughing about something, Amara's terrible Korean pronunciation, maybe, or Hyeon-woo's disaster of a first cooking attempt, when the windows exploded. Glass everywhere. Shouting. Gunshots. Hyeon-woo threw himself over Amara, pushing her to the floor as the table toppled. She felt his weight, his protection, and then chaos. Security swarmed in. More gunshots. Screaming. Through it all, Hyeon-woo covered her, whispering, "Stay down, stay down, stay down," like a prayer. When it ended, 5 minutes that felt like hours, the club was destroyed. Tables overturned, glass and flower petals mixed with blood on the floor. 3 of Hyeon-woo's men were injured. 1 was dead. And Hyeon-woo's face, when he finally pulled back to look at Amara, was empty of everything except cold fury. "Are you hurt?" His hands were shaking as he checked her for injuries. "No. I'm fine." "Hyeon-woo, what? Get her upstairs." He stood, pulling out his phone. "Now. Full lockdown. No one in or out." "Wait, what's happening? Who did this?" "The people who attacked my sister. They're making their move." He finally looked at her, and the expression in his eyes made Amara's blood run cold. "This is my world, Amara. This is what I tried to warn you about. I don't care. 1 of my men is dead. 3 more are bleeding. You could have been killed. Do you understand that? 1 second slower and you would have died because you were sitting next to me. But I didn't. This time." His voice cracked. "This time you got lucky. What about next time? What about the time after that? How many times can we dodge bullets before one hits?" Sora appeared, flanked by security. "Sir, we need to move her." "Go," Hyeon-woo said to Amara. "I need to handle this." "Let me help." "No." The word was final. "You've done enough. You're not part of this. You were never supposed to be part of this." The words hit like slaps. Amara felt something crack in her chest. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying this was a mistake. Us. This. All of it." He wouldn't look at her. "I should have known better, should have kept my distance. Now someone is dead and you're in danger, Anne. Stop it." Amara's voice was sharp. "Stop pushing me away because you're scared." "I'm not scared. I'm realistic. This is who I am, Amara. Violence and danger and people dying. That's my reality. And I won't drag you into it. You're not dragging me. I chose this. Then unchoose it." Finally, he looked at her, and his eyes were empty. "Go home. Back to Lagos. To your family. To safety. Forget you ever met me. I'm not going anywhere." "Yes, you are." He nodded to Sora. "Book her a flight. First class. Tomorrow morning. And make sure she gets on it. Hyeon-woo, please." But he was already walking away, barking orders in Korean, becoming the cold, dangerous man the world expected him to be. Leaving the vulnerable version, the one who'd admitted he was falling for her, buried under survival instinct and fear. Sora gently took Amara's arm. "Come. It's not safe here." Amara let herself be led away, numb with shock. This couldn't be happening. They'd just admitted their feelings. They'd just decided to try. And now, because of violence that wasn't her fault, he was throwing it all away. No. Not throwing it away. Protecting her. That's what he'd said, he wouldn't drag her into his world. This was his twisted version of love. Push away to keep safe. Well, screw that. Amara made it upstairs, accepted the tea Sora offered, nodded along to talk about flight arrangements. But her mind was racing, planning. She'd learned a few things in her time with Hyeon-woo. 1. He was stubborn. 2. He was self-destructive when he thought he was protecting people. 3. He would absolutely put her on that plane if she didn't fight back. So she would fight back. If you enjoyed this story so far, please hit that subscribe button, give us a like, and let us know in the comments what you think happens next. Your support means everything and helps us bring you more stories like this one. She waited until Sora left to coordinate with security. Then Amara did something that would either be brilliant or catastrophically stupid. She called Hyeon-woo's sister. She'd never met the woman, but she'd seen her number in Hyeon-woo's phone during schedule coordination. She dialed before she could second-guess herself. Hello? A woman's voice, suspicious. Is this Hyeon-woo Min? Who's asking? My name is Amara Hyeon-woo. I work for your brother. He's trying to push me away to protect me and I need to know how to get through to him. Silence. Then, you're the woman he won't stop talking about. He talks about me? Constantly. Drives me crazy. Amara did this, Amara said that. Jian's voice softened. He cares about you. A lot. Then help me, please. Because right now he's so busy protecting me from his world that he's destroying both of us in the process. More silence. Then Jian said something that changed everything. Come to my safe house. I'll text you the address. We need to talk. 2 hours later, Amara was standing in a luxury apartment in Gangnam, face to face with Hyeon-woo's sister. Jian was younger than she'd expected, maybe late 20s, with her brother's sharp features and assessing gaze. You're brave, Jian said, coming here against his orders. Or stupid, often the same thing. Jian gestured to a couch. Sit. Tell me what happened. Amara explained, the attack, Hyeon-woo's reaction, the flight he'd booked. As she talked, Jian's expression grew darker. That idiot, she finally said. He's doing the same thing he always does. Someone gets hurt, and he decides the solution is isolation. Has he always been like this? Since our mother left him, yes. He convinced himself that caring about people makes them targets. So he pushes everyone away before they can get too close. Jian looked at Amara. But you got close anyway. I did. And now he's panicking. Good. Amara blinked. Good? He needs to panic. Needs to face the fact that he can't control everything. That love means risk. Jian leaned forward. I was attacked because of him, yes. But I don't blame him. I never blamed him. He built a life from nothing, protected me when we had nothing, gave me opportunities one never would have had otherwise. The attack was horrible, but it was worth it for having him in my life. Does that make sense? Completely. Then make him understand that. Make him see that you're not asking for perfect safety, you're asking for a chance. For partnership. For him to trust you to make your own choices about risk. How? Jian smiled. By being as stubborn as he is. By not getting on that plane. By forcing him to face the fact that you're not going anywhere, no matter how hard he pushes. He could have security physically put me on the plane. He could. But he won't. Because deep down, he doesn't want you to go. He just thinks he should want that. Jian stood. I'll drive you back to Eclipse. And I'll call him, tell him some truths he needs to hear from family. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This could blow up spectacularly. My brother's emotions are like a bomb, very powerful and very dangerous when they finally explode. I'll risk it. Then you're exactly what he needs. They drove back in Jian's car, talking about Hyeon-woo's childhood, his rise to power, the walls he'd built. By the time they reached Eclipse, Amara understood him better than ever. Understood the scared 8-year-old underneath the dangerous man. Understood why he pushed so hard against connection, but understanding didn't mean accepting. She found him in his office, alone, staring at security footage from the attack. He looked up when she entered, and his expression went from surprise to angry. You were supposed to stay upstairs. I went to see your sister. That stopped him. You what? Went to see Jian. We had a nice talk. She told me to tell you that you're being an idiot. Amara. No. You don't get to talk right now. You get to listen. She closed the door, locked it. I'm not getting on that plane. Yes, you are. No, I'm not. You can't make me. Well, you could, but you won't, because deep down you know I'm right. She moved closer. What happened tonight was terrible. Someone died. People got hurt. And I'm so sorry for that, but pushing me away doesn't honor their sacrifice. It doesn't make anyone safer. It just makes you alone. Alone is safer. For who? Not for me. Not for your sister. Not even for you. Amara stood in front of him, forcing him to meet her eyes. You want to know what your sister told me? That she doesn't blame you for the attack. That she'd rather risk danger and have you in her life than be perfectly safe without you. And I feel the same way. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. You're scared. You're convinced that loving people makes them targets. And maybe that's true, but Hyeon-woo, not loving people, not letting anyone close, that's killing you just as surely as any bullet. I can see it. Your sister can see it. Why can't you? Because I can't lose anyone else. The words exploded out of him. Do you understand? I can't. Everyone I've ever cared about gets hurt or leaves or dies. And I won't, do that to you. You don't get to make that choice for me. Yes, I do. My world, my rules. Your world, maybe. But my life. My choices. My risks to take. Amara reached out, took his hands. I'm not asking for guarantees. I'm not asking you to promise nothing bad will ever happen. I'm asking you to stop running. To stop pushing me away every time something scares you. Trust me to decide what risks I'm willing to take. Hyeon-woo's hands were shaking in hers. What if I can't protect you? Then we'll figure it out together. But you can't protect me from yourself. That's not how this works. It should be. But it's not. She squeezed his hands. Love is a risk, Hyeon-woo. It's dangerous and scary and sometimes people get hurt. But it's also beautiful and healing and worth it. Your sister knows that. I know that. When will you? For a long moment, he just looked at her. Then, slowly, the walls cracked again. I'm so scared of losing you. I know. If something happened to you because of me, it won't be because of you. It'll be because of bad people making bad choices. You can't control that. I have to try. No, you have to live. Really live, not just survive. There's a difference. Hyeon-woo pulled her closer, resting his forehead against hers. You're so stubborn. Take one to know one. I don't know how to do this. How to love someone without suffocating them with protection. We'll learn together. And if I mess up? Then we'll fix it. Together. She pulled back just enough to look him in the eyes. I'm not going anywhere, Hyeon-woo. No matter how hard you push. So you might as well stop pushing and let me stay. Something in his expression finally broke. The last wall came down, and Amara saw everything, the fear, the love, the desperate hope that maybe this time could be different. Maybe he could have this. Stay, he whispered. I'm staying. Promise? Promise. He kissed her then. Desperate and gentle and full of everything he couldn't say. Amara kissed him back, pouring every ounce of certainty she had into it. Showing him that she meant it. That she was here, solid and real and not going anywhere. When they finally pulled apart, both breathing hard, Hyeon-woo rested his forehead against hers again. This is terrifying, he admitted. I know. I'm going to be overprotective and paranoid. I know that too. And I might panic and try to push you away again. And I'll pull you back. Every time. He laughed, the sound watery with relief. What did I do to deserve you? You saw someone dying in the snow and refused to let them go. That's what you did. Best decision I ever made. Mine too. They stood there, holding each other while Seoul sparkled outside the windows. One person was still dead. The danger was still real. The world was still complicated and violent and uncertain. But they had each other. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough. The months that followed were far from easy. There were attacks, less direct than the Valentine's Day shooting, but constant reminders of the danger inherent in Hyeon-woo's world. There were arguments, usually when he tried to wrap Amara in so much security she could barely breathe. There were compromises, learning to balance protection with freedom, safety with autonomy. There were also moments of unexpected joy. Hyeon-woo teaches Amara to cook Korean food, both of them laughing when she somehow made kimchi soup catch fire. Amara teaches him Nigerian pidgin, watching him struggle with tones and inflections. Late nights at Eclipse, dancing when the club was empty, just the two of them and the music. Ji-yeon became Amara's unlikely friend, the two of them ganging up on Hyeon-woo when he was being particularly stubborn. Sora taught Amara more about the business, and Amara discovered she had a talent for negotiation and crisis management. 6 months after Valentine's Day, Amara finally convinced Hyeon-woo to visit Lagos. "Your grandmother's going to hate me," he said nervously on the plane. "Probably," Amara agreed cheerfully. "But she'll feed you anyway. That's how she shows love." Meeting Amara's family was chaotic. Her mother cried, her sister interrogated Hyeon-woo like he was applying for a job, and her grandmother fed them until they couldn't move. But through it all, Hyeon-woo smiled more than Amara had ever seen him smile. Like he was discovering what family could be when it wasn't shaped by abandonment. "Your people are incredible," he said on their last night, sitting on her grandmother's porch while Lagos hummed around them. "They're your people now too," Amara corrected. "If you want them. I want everything with you." He took her hand. "Family, future, all of it. Even the chaos?" "Especially the chaos. Turns out I was missing that." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun set over the city where Amara had been born. She thought about the journey that had brought her here, heartbreak and betrayal, cold and despair, but also rescue and healing and unexpected love. "Do you regret it?" Hyeon-woo asked, reading her thoughts. "Everything that happened with Marcus? The pain?" Amara considered. "I regret trusting him. I regret letting him diminish me. But I don't regret where it led. Because without that pain, I never would have found you." That's very philosophical. It's also true. Sometimes the worst moments lead to the best outcomes. You taught me that. I did? You did. Every time you choose to care despite the risks. Every time you protected someone even though protection had failed you. Every time you let me in even though letting people in terrifies you. She squeezed his hand. You taught me that surviving isn't enough. That we have to keep risking, keep loving, keep trying even when it's hard. Hyeon-woo was quiet for a moment. Then, "I love you, Amara Okonkwo." It was the first time he'd said it clearly, without hedging or fear. The words hung in the warm Lagos air like a promise. "I love you too, Hyeon-woo Min. Even though I'm complicated and overprotective and sometimes insufferable? Especially because of those things." He laughed, pulling her close. "We're going to be okay, aren't we?" "We are," Amara confirmed. "Not perfect. Not easy. But okay. Together." "Together," he echoed. And this time, the word didn't scare him. They stayed on that porch until the stars came out, talking about the future. About expanding the business, maybe opening a club in Lagos. About family, about healing, about building something neither of them had thought possible. It wasn't the fairy tale ending Amara had once imagined. There was no guarantee of happiness ever after, no promise that danger wouldn't find them again. Hyeon-woo was still a man who lived in shadows, and Amara was still rebuilding herself from the pieces Marcus had shattered. But they had something better than a fairy tale. They had reality, messy and complicated and beautifully imperfect. They had trust earned through crisis and love tested by fire. They had each other, choosing daily to stay, to fight, to build something worth the risk. And in the end, isn't that what love really is? Not the absence of fear or danger or pain, but the decision to face those things together. To be each other's protection and safe harbor. To remember that the coldest nights make us appreciate warmth, that abandonment teaches us the value of being seen, and that sometimes the people who save us are the ones we save in return. Amara had learned all of this in the months since Hyeon-woo found her dying in the snow. She'd learned that she was stronger than she knew, braver than she believed, and worthy of a love that didn't require her to shrink or apologize or disappear. And Hyeon-woo? He'd learned that walls only protect you from connection, not pain. That love doesn't make people weak, it makes them stronger. That the little boy left on the steps in the snow deserved to be warm, to be held, to be chosen again and again. They'd learned these lessons together, and they would keep learning. Keep growing. Keep choosing each other even when it is hard. Because that's what love is. Not a moment but a choice. Not a feeling but an action. Not rescue but partnership. And as they sat there on that porch in Lagos, hands linked and hearts open, both of them knew they'd made the right choice. Even if the journey had been painful. Even if the future was uncertain. Even if loving each other meant risking everything. Some things, they'd learned, were worth the risk. Some people were worth the snow. And some love stories, the ones that start in darkness and cold and despair, those are the ones that burn brightest when they finally catch fire. This was one of those stories. And it was just beginning. Can I ask you a question? Where in the world are you watching from? Comment below because we would love to know how far these stories travel, and hit that subscribe button because there are new stories you do not want to miss.